Okay, so on the bench today, we have an Epiphone, and this is an SG. It needs new strings, it needs cleaned up, so let's get started. So we've got an Epiphone on the bench, and it's an SG. It's got the old Gibson truss rod cover. So my best guess is this is Korea, late 90s Korea is my best guess on this one. And she's just really, really dirty. And the input jack's a little weird over here. It's kind of chipped out. You got a screw in the back here, you know. Old Epiphone tuners with the nice buttons on there. Trapezoid inlays. This was probably a $400 or $500 guitar. Maybe not that much. It was probably a $350, $400 guitar when it first came out, is my best guess. Let's test some electronics. Everything seems to be working good in there. It's a little bit of static in these knobs, but we can spray those out. Fretboard's really dirty. The strings are just disgusting on here. Looks like the clear coat is starting to come off right here, up in the corner like that. This is the Epiphone headstock where they clip the ears off. So you know Gibson headstock would come up here and then kind of come to a point right here. So this is one where they wanted it to be different from Gibson. So all they did is went in here and guys call it, they clipped the ears off of it. So yeah, there's another little ding I just put in it. But yeah, it's scratched up here. It's got a lot of this and that going on. Let's go ahead and we'll take the back plate off. And we'll spray the electronics out. So now this is a customer's guitar. And so I'm just doing a basic restring, kind of a setup on it. And she brought it in and she was like, hey, it plays pretty good, but some of the frets are fretting out. Here, let me spray this out real quickly. I got my glasses on just to protect my eyes because I don't want to get this stuff in here. Don't want to get this stuff in my eyes. I don't know if we need to spray on that a little bit, but it probably doesn't hurt anything. Okay, we can see right here. Yeah, this output jack, if you take a look right here, we've got a lot of silicone wrapped around this. So fortunately, it's working okay. And I don't need to mess with that because I would have to dig all that silicone out of there. But a lot of times what happens on these SGs is you put a straight cable in here and you end up bending it. And so that's exactly what happened. And they filled it in with a bunch of silicone and stuff, which, you know, I guess that's not the worst idea in the world. Weirder things have happened. So we're just going to try to get these spun around a couple of times. Let's see now if we got some of that dirt out of there. See? See how much better that is? Okay. So the customer, she was complaining about some of the higher frets are they're not ringing out when you come up here. And I took one quick look at it. And I said, oh, that's just your pickup. Your pickup is too high. And of course, this pickup takes a little straight edge screwdriver. So before I even get these strings off of here and do any cleanup or anything, I'm going to go ahead and lower this top pickup right here. And I already showed her, hey, your pickup was too high. And okay, so now what's going to happen? Way better, right? Sometimes you just got to look things over. And it's not always the worst possible thing that can be happening. Sometimes it's something plain and simple. These strings are in rough shape, but a lot of times a guitar like this, people are like, oh, it's just a cheap guitar. And the last thing that they want to do is put any time or money into a old guitar like this. But this girl, she was smart enough to know that this is a set neck Epiphone, and this can be a really nice guitar. So props to her for knowing that you know, this can be a pretty nice guitar. She thought there was something missing on the saddles right here, but no, these saddles are all right there. I think I'll do some minor adjustments to some of those, but yeah, everything is here. I can also see that the nut is loose, so we'll have to re-glue that nut. Okay. You know, while I'm here, I think I will, I'm going to lower the one side of this pickup too. There we go. I always put my fingers next to it so I can feel if the pickup is moving up or down. This one's really rocking in there. I'm going to lower it some more and see if I can get this thing to flatten up a little bit. But, you know, it's actually at a pretty good pitch considering that the strings, you know, these guitars, you know, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the camera like this. These guitars aren't straight across like a Strat. These are at an angle where the body, you know, where it's straight across, but then the neck is, you know what I'm trying to say? There's an angle right here to these guitars. They're not completely flat like a Fender. They kind of come up like this. So, yeah, all SGs are like that. Alright, so let's just clean it up a little bit. So let me get a shop rag, and I'm just going to use some furniture polish. Put a lot of it on there though. Let's hit the fretboard a little bit. Let's hit the headstock. And let's just sit here and clean on it for a few minutes. Okay, so back here on the back, there's just a screw that they had holding the strap on, so we're going to get rid of that. There we go. And let's go ahead and take some furniture polish, and let's try to shine up the back of this thing a little bit. Yeah, my shop is right next to a high school. So sometimes you get the group of kids that walks through. There's a lot of adhesive or something right back here. It could be part of that silicone that they had out. Okay. If this was my guitar, I'd really shine this thing up. But this is just a restring, and I'm just trying to make it look nice. When somebody buys a cheap guitar like this, and I can just, you know, spend 10 minutes with some furniture polish and a shop rag and shine it up, it makes a big difference. And I also do it because I enjoy doing it, but I also do it for, again, YouTube content, right? Okay, that feels good there. This video is brought to you by Swiss Picks. It's not just a pick, it's a science. Available at ZIMM'S Guitars or at www.swisspicks.com. So now let's concentrate on the fretboard a little bit. Let's just clean this up a little bit. Yep, cleaning it up. All right, you know what I'm going to do is, let me get my fret guard out. And I have some 1000 grit sandpaper. Let's just see if we can shine these frets up a little bit. 1000 grit sandpaper. Quick and easy. Right, you know, that's all I'm doing. It's taking a little extra time to make this thing look great. Guys, don't take your restrings to Guitar Center because they don't do any of this kind of stuff for you. And if they did touch your frets or polish their frets, I think their charge to do that is like $120 or something. And this would probably be all they would do. So don't take your guitar to Guitar Center. It's the worst possible place. Find a local mom and pop shop where there's somebody that actually cares, that works on your guitar and wants you to have a good playing guitar. Because Guitar Center, those guys could give two shits, to be honest with you. But for me, being in a used guitar shop, that's where most of these guitars originally came from. So I can't complain too much about it because the statistics are that something like 90% of the guitars that come out of Guitar Center, you know, whenever a kid is like, Daddy, buy me a guitar, Mom, buy me a guitar, 90% of those instruments become abandoned. And then after they sit in somebody's bedroom or under the bed, or you know what I'm saying, for a couple of years, then that's when the parents grab the guitar back and they sell you the guitar back. They sell companies like mine. You guys know what I'm trying to say. To sum it up, 90% of the guitars that get sold out of Guitar Center end up being sold to a used guitar shop or a pawn shop or out on OfferUp or something somewhere like that. Okay, so I'm seeing something that maybe looks kind of like a shim that is under the nut right here. What is that? Okay, do we need that under there? I don't think I need that under there. So I'm going to leave that out. And since I'm here, let me go ahead and pull this truss rod cover off. That shim is tiny and very thin. And I actually kind of surprised myself that I saw it laying down there. I almost glued right over it. Let's see if we can get this thing playing good without that shim underneath there. It was maybe put there for a reason, right? But as of right now, we don't know what that reason is, so I'm going to take it out. And I'm just going to glue this nut back in there. And it doesn't look like it's been cut too deep or anything to me. It looks fine, so let's lay this thing back in there. Center it nicely. Take a look and see if that is laying nice and flat. Yes, it is. So now we got to just let this thing dry up. But it is almost closing time for me. I'll have to wait until tomorrow to restring this thing. And then we'll be able to actually do the setup on it after that nut has dried up. In the meantime, we can put a little bit of F1, Music Nomad F1 oil on the fretboard. And just a couple of drops. There's been a bunch of times in a bunch of my videos where I've kind of gotten a little bit crazy with the F1 oil. And I put it on really way too much. And a couple of you guys have very nicely, I might add, left it in the comments that, hey man, you're getting a little bit crazy with your F1 oil. You don't need nearly that much. And I even had a customer call me. Well, not a customer, but a guy that watches the YouTube channel. He's like, bro, get a sponge and put it in a, seal it up. And it'll stay moist. You know, put it in a baggie or put it in a Tupperware bowl or something. And then, you know, every time you use it, it'll stay moist. And you can use that sponge on every guitar for years and years. And a bottle of F1 oil will last you for years and years and years. And I probably do, you know, on a good day, I'll do 3 or 4 guitars a day. And so I kind of use a lot of it, but I've been trying to slow down. And when you guys leave me comments, and I really appreciate it, I do actually read most of the comments, and I try to learn from your guys' comments. So I do want to thank you guys for that. There we go. We got a nice clean fretboard right there. So I think the only thing now left for us to do today on this one is to let this nut dry, because I just glued that thing in there. And I don't want to put strings on it and have that thing moving around and stuff like that. And it's almost closing time for me anyhow today. It's 5:45. I close at 6 o'clock. So we will presume tomorrow. So see you guys then. There's one more thing I'm going to do today. So down here on this output jack, I'm actually going to put a little dab of some fingernail polish on it. And just to disguise this a little bit. And I think I know my customer pretty well, where I don't think she's going to be upset about this at all. I think she's going to appreciate this. And since I'm letting the glue under that nut kind of dry up, I can kind of be letting this, oh, don't get it everywhere. I can kind of let this stuff dry up too. Okay, it's not perfect, but it never really was, so There we go. Who knows, right? She might like that. Or maybe she'll be like, dude, what are you doing here? You never know. String choice. Okay, here they are. Regular Slinky Ernie Ball 10 through 46. America's favorite guitar string. Okay, let's go ahead and string this thing up. Yeah, so it's the next day, so the nut is nice and dry. The little bit of fingernail polish that I put in here is nice and dry. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and take my notched straight edge here. And this is short scale guitar, so I've got it set up here where it says short scale. And let's look at that string relief, if there is any. That looks pretty darn good, nice and flat. So this is how I look, you know, just sort of check out the string height. It feels nice and low. And I took that little shim out from underneath the nut. And I'm not really sure why that shim was in there, because it seems like it's fine now. Stretch these babies out a little bit. Yeah, just sit and play the guitar a little bit, and that's sort of how you can figure out if you like where the string height is. I like it. So now, I've got to put a couple of strap buttons on here for her. And so this one, I'm definitely going to use a little wooden, this isn't exactly a toothpick, it's a lot bigger than that. But I'm going to fill this up so that the screw has something to bite into. And I'm going to put a bunch of Tide Bond on it. There we go. Nice and tight. So now I'm going to do the same thing down here. And you can use regular wood sticks. You can use regular toothpicks. Just try to make sure that you have some wood glue. Try to tap that in a little bit. There we go, and I'll cut it off right there. Okay. Let's see if I can do the same thing here.